I do have the gift shop. I have a distributor who's going through gift shops across Newfoundland, and he's just started that the 1st of January. The best place, though, to get the book is actually online right now,
right?
Which is ShawnAnthony.ca, and that's ShawnAnthony.ca. That's the easiest, most convenient way. Check your local gift shop. If you don't have it, send me an email. I encourage anybody and everybody to send me an email to my personal email, which is Shawn Ivan Anthony, and that's ShawnAnthony @gmail.com. My dad used to be. Here's an interesting kind of fun fact, Carolyn. Everybody has that Fatback and Molasses cookbook, right? That
right.
Ivan Jesperson. So he was a minister on Fogle Island in the 70s. And my dad and him were great friends. So my middle name is Ivan, after Ivan Jesperson. It's funny because he recently resurfaced. I say resurfaced, not that he was in hiding, but he left Fogle Island a number of years ago and left Newfoundland a number of years ago. And now he's at a retiring age, and now he's on social media all over the place. I think he's getting ready to publish something else as well. But there's, if you can't think of any other connection to Shawn Anthony, go look in your drawer for a recipe. You might find that yellow book. There's a connection right there. And actually, if you go through it, there's a bunch of recipes from Fogle Island and Change Islands as well. I think what he did was just collect recipes and stories from people that in communities that he served. Wonderful story. I absolutely think it's a great. Again, a guy not from Newfoundland who had come in and just was like so many other people, just fascinated with the people, with the place, with the culture. I think we have so much to offer the world, and I'm so glad that the world's actually starting to notice.
It is a good thing, and we will share all of your website and your Gmail. Your email, it is a Gmail, right?
That's right.
On our social media, for anybody listening, they can check out our Facebook page and find all that, the Bridges Facebook page. And we'll also add your information. We'll put up a little something. I run the For the Love of the Rock page. I have about 20,000 plus Newfoundlanders and expat Newfoundlanders on that page that we share all this too as well. So hopefully we'll get some interest. I think there's lots of interest in your book. I heard the name of it. Scott Sims, by the way, is a big advocate for this book. He's our MP, Scott Sims. So anybody listening, Member of Parliament Scott Sims, you know him. Everybody knows Scott. He's a huge ambassador for this book. He was immediately telling me, you've got to read this book. And so I will do that because I take him as he buys my books, so I have to. I have to.
He's very good at buying my friendship.
He's not buying votes at all. No, just buying books. So, but no, Scott's a great guy. Everybody likes him. I always describe him as the guy.
I worked with Scott here.
Oh, do you? Yeah, go ahead.
I did work with Scott, and that's how I had met Scott. George Baker had introduced me to Scott. I was done school here, and I called my uncle. We were talking, and he said, "You should call my buddy George." I said, "What?" And he goes, "My buddy George Baker. Give him a call. You're done school now. You've always been interested in politics." And I thought, well, what's this now, right? Like, kind of, sure, why not give him a call? I call up George Baker. I leave him a voicemail, and I get an hour later, I left the house, and an hour later I come back, there's a voicemail waiting for me. And he said, "Shawn Anthony, this is George Baker." He was a senator then. I think he's retired now. And he said, "I know who you are. I know who your family are. I've had my legs under their table a dozen times. Come to my office for 9 o'clock tomorrow morning." Went, all right, I get to go to the Senate, right? And to check. That's
great.
So I go down there and I tell him, I said, I'm done school. I'm thinking about maybe working on the Hill for a couple of years and trying that out. I've met a lot of very successful people who've had a couple of years on the Hill. And he said, what, I got nothing to offer. Like, our Senate office is full, but I'm going to introduce you to Scott.
Right.
And so he called up Scott. He set up a meeting. He was the best kind of guy. And every now and then he'd check in and see how my career progress was going. He couldn't have been more helpful. Him and his assistant, Linda Biddle, I believe her name was, wonderful, wonderful people. And then Scott and I met, and we became fast friends. He didn't have a job right then to offer me, but he got me doing some research projects. He got me doing some work like that, and eventually helped get me a job on the Hill where I got to work for 2 years. And I worked with him, and I worked with Judy Foote as well for a couple of for about a year. But it was that Newfoundland connection, right? And I was proud to have Scott write the foreword in my book. He wrote a beautiful, touching foreword that spoke not only to the book but also to our friendship. He's a great guy, and we get together and we start laughing. And then as even when I'm out in the car when I'm leaving, I'm still laughing because a lot of people don't know this about Scott because they only see serious Scott. Scott's Scott in the house talking, Scott talking at a town hall, whatever. Scott's a funny guy.
Yeah, I always say that if he hadn't been a politician, he should have been a stand-up comedian. And I also tell him that there's a lot of parallels between the two.
Yes, I think you definitely need humor to work in that arena for sure.
Absolutely,
but he also,
yeah.
One thing I really like about Scott and respect about him is he makes a point of being funny, but never at anybody else's expense.
No.
And that's a really hard thing to do sometimes, because we are in a world that's a pretty cynical place, right? And it's pretty easy to point your finger and laugh. The things he laughs at or he makes people laugh at are more the human condition, that sort of thing. So, Carolyn, thank you so much for this call.
Thank you.
I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and I look forward to getting your book. I'll let you go. You've certainly given us a lot of your time this morning, and I appreciate it. The storm is upon us, and it's pretty white outside now, so I'm going to go and do everything I can in case we lose the power. I'm pretty warm here. My husband does a good job of keeping the wood stove going. I think it's his new second job is keep the fire going during the winter.
Well, I hope everybody in Newfoundland is doing well. And if I can, for a moment, Carolyn, anybody listening out there who has reached out already and bought the book or reached out and had interest, I just wanted to express my gratitude. Having, and you've probably experienced this yourself, the time commitment and sitting down and reading a book is pretty heavy. In this crazy world that we live in where we all have a job and a half and we're all taking a course and we all got kids to raise and everything else. So when I hear that people are going out and buying the book and sharing it with their friends and reading it, I can't express enough appreciation. So thank you very much. And I hope you guys have a great day and keep warm Newfoundland.
All right. Thank you so much, Shawn.
All the best now. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Bridges radio program. Find us again next Friday at 8 p.m. Bridges is produced at Citadel House Studios in Lewisport, Newfoundland and Labrador, and is a collaborative project between Carolyn R. Parsons and Citadel House.